Everybody? Hey, America, what's happening? This is Brother Nature the Herbalist signing on tonight, Monday, March 9th. Tonight, we have a show that will not include my lovely co-host, Sky Juice, as she's taking care of some very pertinent business, but I'm here, so you're not lacking. Actually, you might be better off, but don't tell her I said that. Of course, she'll watch this later, and then she'll owe me a behind kicking. But anyway, just wanted to say hi. Come into your living rooms or your laptops globally and say, hey, what's going on? This is Brother Nature the Herbalist, aka Doc Love the Rapper, aka Van Edwards the Human Being. And tonight we'll cover a couple of topics just off the top of my head. I'm not sure who's going to join us. But, actually, me and Sky, Sky lives in Puerto Rico. And she was here visiting family on the East Coast. So she threw this in my ear a couple weeks ago. She said, hey, while I'm there, since I'm coming up there in a couple weeks, why don't we see if we could do a workshop? So I was like, she said, well, do you know of any place that we can get a space and we can hold a workshop? And that's how Sky is. Like Sky will just at the drop of a hat, she'll just decide, hey, let's do this. Hey, let's do that. And most of us will be like, nah, there's not enough time. It's short notice. Sky's not a short notice person. Sky is like, you know what? Hey, we got 2 weeks. Let's do this. Let's do that. And I learned something from her from that, because I can be like one of the worst procrastinators ever. And if she had not said that, I would have taken it on like, you know what, it's not enough time. No, it's too short a notice. The whole nine. And that just taught me something. Like, there's no such thing as too short a notice. There's no such thing as not enough time. Because the real movers and shakers in the world do things on the drop of a dime. They don't need 6 weeks. They don't need 6 months to prepare. They're ready to rock and roll at the drop of a hat. And that's Sky Juice, and that's why I respect her. That's why I let her hang around me. The only reason. But anyway, tonight I think I'm going to discuss a couple of the people that I am friends with. And I want you guys to take some information. So I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to get a paper and pen. And I want you to take down a couple of names. And I want you guys to get familiar and like a page or two that I'm going to mention. Let's see. Okay, this is not in the order of importance, just in the order of what I'm going to talk about. Hi, baby. Claire Clouds just joined us, everyone. How you doing, Mama?
Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing? Can you hear
Hey,
me?
sweetheart. How you doing? Good morning.
Good morning, good evening.
Yeah, for all of you that don't know, Claire Clouds is in Australia. So where it's 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time here in the U.S., it's actually, I believe it's 9 a.m. in the morning where she is in Australia. So you got to consider that. Wow, So she wakes up and she jumps on the call. And she's just as much a part of this production as me and Sky. So, she's Ed McMahon. Or what's that
Stop.
guy? No, she's my Doc Severinsen. Or who's the guy for Jay Leno these days? Well, actually, Jay Leno is gone. But well, whatever. Like, she handles the music. When this thing goes global, which it will, somebody's gonna pick us up. Sky's gonna be the music. You know what I mean? The music never looks so good. So We love Sky, not Sky, Claire. Claire's going to be the music, and the music never looks so good. So I just want you guys to understand it's not just the Sky, Jew, and Doc Love show or Brother Nature show or Van Edwards show. It's the Claire Cloud show also. So you guys better recognize that. You hear me? But anyway, yeah, we're just going to discuss a couple of posts that I've been reading. There's a guy named Tony Veer, and now you guys had enough time to get your pen and pad, so you're going to write down Tony, regular Tony, Veer, Vear apostrophe S, Tony Veer's relationship advice. That's Tony Veer's relationship advice. I'm not going to quote anything tonight. I'm not going to go into what he talks about. I want you guys to go and check him out. Like his page. He has the most comprehensive, the most just insightful information for couples or just for individuals in general. It's not the average you go girl, yeah, yeah, tell him off nonsense, like a lot of these guys are doing now because they want to win the favor of women, so they dog men in the process. I don't think that's the answer, because I think in order to have a successful relationship, between a man and a woman, I think you need both parties to feel successful and satisfied. You can't demean one half of the equation to make the other half feel better and expect it to come out, to be successful. I just don't agree with that. I'm not going to name any names, but there are a lot of guys out there now that are doing, they're selling books, they put on daily posts, and they dog men to win the favor of women, aka Steve Harvey. Now, I'm not dogging Steve Harvey. I actually appreciate Steve Harvey, and what the things that he talks about is true. As far as like think like a woman, or think like a man, act like a woman, and stuff like that. I actually agree with that kind of stuff. But I think there's a place for that, and then a lot of guys have now taken that baton and ran with it, and now they're appealing to the ratchet you go girl community, where all men ain't nothing, and yeah girl, you right, and this man is this and that. Well, first of all, you attract to yourself what you are. So if you keep attracting the wrong man to yourself, I think you need to look at yourself. Just like as a man, I had to realize that I keep attracting a certain type of woman to me, and I was blaming these women. At the end of the day, it wasn't the women. It was myself that I had to work on. And once I started doing that, not only have I attracted a better quality, quote unquote, of woman to myself, but friends and counterparts and associates, the whole nine. Is just a whole different paradigm than I'm used to dealing with. So at the end of the day, it always starts with you. And Tony Veer is the type of guy that he speaks from that space where it's not about demeaning women or demeaning men or trying to win women over with dogging men out so that they'll think he's a great guy. He brings it to you straight. And that's what I love about him. And if you know anything about me and you follow my page, you realize that anything he posts, I repost, because it's such powerful knowledge. And I've learned a lot about myself as a man just by reading some of his stuff. I've learned things about myself. And if you're open to learning and constructive criticism, because some of the stuff speaks to me personally, the things that I've done wrong in relationships. Tony Veer is that guy. So I just wanted to give him a big up. And you guys, if you have not if you have the opportunity, make the time. Like Tony Veer's, that's Tony Vear apostrophe S, Tony Veer's relationship advice. And if you don't learn something about yourself as a human being, a man or a woman or both, then you're not from this planet. because he's not somebody that's demeaning the other sex or demeaning his own sex to win any favor. He's giving real comprehensive advice that works for both parties. And I really, really respect him, and I like him, and I will do anything to promote his work at any time as long as he stays positive like that. So I just wanted to say that. Hey, Claire, what's happening, babe? You got anything you want to talk about before we go in?
Hey, what's up? I just wanted to, speaking of promotions, I want to promo, big up Sky and Van. They just had a workshop on March 7th in New York City. Yeah, talking about a wellness workshop, and they had a conversation talking about for men and women. What is it for men and women who love? For men and for the women who love them. Sorry, my bad. So, and that was discussing on a wide range of topics. So, big up, guys. Like, that was really cool. So, I hope that went well. And if you want to go see them live, I'm sure they'll be doing some more talks sometime soon.
Absolutely. Thank you, sweetheart. I love that Claire Clouds, let me tell you. I really, Claire Clouds is one of my favorite people, and she's really the sweetest person one of the sweetest people I've ever known. And, me and Claire have never formally met, and me and Sky have never formally met before she came to New York this weekend. So we met the first time and did a workshop together, as Claire stated, and it was phenomenal. We spoke about basically, the name of the workshop was No More Bedroom Failures. Because basically, and men know what we're talking about, you know, especially as we age. A lot of times what guys, and there were some men in there that was like 50 years old and older, and they can attest that their libido has gone non-existent, basically. And these are people with partners. And there was a guy in there that his partner was very supportive and loving, but how long is that going to last? A woman has needs. And as a man, it's your responsibility to take care of that. Because you see, whatever you're going through, there was one guy in there that was diagnosed with diabetes. There was another guy with high blood pressure, and there's medication involved. And the medication suppresses the libido. And basically, I'm telling these men, you don't have to go down that road. You don't have to. You have to make some changes. I brought up water fasting, and as you know, this show started out as a show about water fasting and health and detoxing and cleansing, and it'll always be that show. But now we call it Marinate with Sky Juice and Brother Nature, and I want to add Claire Clouds to that, because at the end of the day, we will talk about topics, but it'll always be a wellness show, no matter what. It'll always be that. But let's face it, we are indoctrinated with so many things, medications, the foods we eat. You're going to end up on a medication of some sort. You're going to end up on a pill. You are. There's no way you're not going to end up having to need medical intervention from an allopathic standpoint. There's just no way. It's impossible for too many. I mean, some might live to be 120 and never need anything, but that's a rare case. The way things are, all the stuff in the foods, the processed foods, the packaged foods, that's not food. So if your body doesn't know what to do with it, that's like giving your car cooking oil to run on. Now let's just say it can run on that cooking oil for a little while. Let's just say that you're desperate and you said, you're in the desert and for some reason you have 20 gallons of cooking oil. And you're like, what, let me try this. It might work for a couple miles. It might work for 5 or 10 miles. But it ain't going to work for long because it's not designed to do that. So your body's not designed to process and digest the foods that you are given to eat. It's your responsibility. And when we got through with those men in there, they fully understood that it was their responsibility. You can turn this around. You don't have to be a slave to diabetes or high blood pressure or heart disease or you name it. Like there's 9 million different, and they come up with new ones every day because they're just deciding on what pill you can take to spend that money. at the end of the day. And I don't want to bastardize, the American Medical Association. There's some good in that, but let's look at who's running that whole thing. You know what I mean? I really have a hard time believing that our well-being is a precedence to that. I just can't see it. I don't see it, because you take a pill and then it starts messing up everything else in your body. Something's not right about that, when there are natural herbs there that can really help. So I'm sorry, I'm not a fan of it. At the end of the day, I told these guys, and Skai was like she went in on them, and we had a very open conversation. I'll tell you something that I discussed. I discussed the time when I was about maybe 22 years old, or 23 or 24. I was with this young lady who I had adored, and I'd loved her, and I wanted to be with her really bad. And finally, I think I wore her down. She agreed, and she called me, and she was like, hey, what you doing today? You know what? I think I want to see you. You've been talking to me, and I liked you too, and let's get together. And I was like, yes. I was like, oh shit. I was like, for real? I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God, is this really happening? I had to pinch myself. We got together. We got a hotel room. We went to the room. Everything seemed so perfect. The mood was right. We were making out. There was great foreplay and chemistry, and I could not achieve an erection. And I was young. I was a young man. And let me tell you something. Women may not understand this, but everything in a man's life is led by his dick. Pardon my French. Everything is led by the cock. Everything. Society tells you that. You're not a man if you don't, first of all, everything is how big your dick is. And everything is about the dick to the man. Everything. Society makes sure that you know that. Society ensures that you know that everything pertains to your dick. So when I couldn't achieve an erection, and I was a very young, and I never had this problem before. My joint gets hard at the blow of the wind. I've never had a problem with that. I've always been very virile as a man, as a young man especially. And when that happened to me, I got to tell you, that was the most devastating thing that I had gone through at that point. Like, I didn't feel like a man. I didn't feel like I was worthy. I was walking around dead, just existing. And some people would say, hey, it happens, get over it. Well, that's easier said than done when you don't know anything else. And then there was the anxiety of, is this woman going to get on the phone and start calling her girlfriends and laughing at me and, saying, oh, he wasn't nothing. I was so concerned about looking good that I didn't even realize what was happening. The fact that warning sign. Okay, so I laid there. I had to just apologize to her. And at that moment, and I'm sorry to say, she thought it was her fault, because apparently this had happened to her before also with someone else. And I was so young and stupid, I didn't think to say, no, I don't want you to think it's your fault. It was something with me. I let her think that, because I was like, woo, thank God she thinks it's her. So now I can walk out of here with, I can have my face and I can say, yeah, shit, it's her fault. It wasn't all me. But at the end of the day, it was me. It was my diet. It was the fact that I never drank water. I didn't like water, so I didn't drink it. And the way I ate, I used to drink a 2-liter Coke every night with my dinner. And soda, all of us know now, like, soda's the worst. You know what I'm saying? So, as I asked this question to the audience, have you ever had this experience happen to you? They were very honest. Like, I would say 4 out of 5 men said, yeah, that happened to me when I was about 20. And I was like, wow. Like, okay, so I'm not alien to this. Every one of them pretty much said, no, it happened to me. I never admitted it to anybody, but now that we're being honest, yeah, it happened to me. And I asked them, well, why do you think that happened? And they were like, because I probably did the same thing you did. I didn't drink water. I didn't take care of myself, and I ate poorly. I said, have you ever changed that? They said, no. So at least in my 20s, I started kind of changing it. Then we discussed the parts about um, the fact that when you're not eating right, you as a lover to your woman, you're dumping in your woman all that toxic, hate to be graphic, but all that toxicity you're giving back to your woman. And Sky went into a thing, and she'll probably talk about this tomorrow, where that happened with her too. She was being infected by her lover, and she was reinfecting him, and he was reinfecting her. With the whole that whole yeast thing. And that's what it is. So as a man, it is very important for you, well, as a woman too, but since we're on the topic of, discussion of men, it's important for you to clean up your act. You know what I mean? Clean up your act, man, because you're not only hurting you, you're damaging your woman. Trust me. You're dumping. It's like being a dump. You're a dump site. She's a dump site for you. She's a dump site for you. Because if you're smoking and drinking all the time and you're not eating right, you're never detoxing and cleansing, you're not drinking water, I mean, you're dumping that in her. And if you love her, you got to make a change, man. You got to make a change. Not to mention the quality of life you're robbing of yourself, your children that's not going to have you around for a while. But I don't want to get too heavy. I know we'll probably talk about this tomorrow a little more. But Claire, what do you think about that? What do you think about what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I agree. Like it's got definitely got to do with health and well-being and diet and everything like that. I agree with what you're saying, Van. Like if you're gonna eat bad and anyone's gonna intercept, get together, it's definitely going to affect the other person, and not just physically, mentally. It's all the same thing. So I totally agree with what you're saying. Glad the show went great though. That's really good to hear. I knew it would anyway.
Thank you, sweetheart. Yeah, but it's on all levels. I mean, think about it. We can see the physical, but we can't see the mental, and we can't see the emotional and the spiritual and the etherical. Imagine what all those things matter. You're ruining your aura. You're ruining everything that really matters. The manifestation of what's going on and the things you don't see is what you can see. So when all these things start happening, like the diabetes and all these other things and all these other crazy nonsense situations, it's already occurred in the parts that you don't see. And we always know, but we tend to like ignore it. We tend to say, it's nothing, yeah, I got a little whatever, but I'm good. And that's your indication. That's the time to take advantage of getting clear. So I don't want to preach too much on that. I just wanted to bring that up. There was a post or two that I saw. There was a post from this young lady called Jasmine the Brat Hollywood. And the group that I'm a part of, I'm a part of several groups, and this one is called Relationship Therapy. And I'm reading, so it says, question of the day: can a man be in love with two women at the same time? And I had to ask Claire that question. I'm going to put you on the spot. Can a man, or can anyone, can anyone? It could be, can a man, can a woman, even in a gay relationship, can a man be in love with two men at the same time? Can a woman be in love with two women at the same time? Can a man be in love with two women at the same time? Can a woman be in love with two men at the same time? Is that possible? And I don't mean love, because love is across the board. I'm talking about in love. So we'll just keep it, when I say man to women, just in the interest of time. Can a man be in love with two women in love at the same time? What do you think, Claire?
Most definitely. That's without question, of course. Um, yeah. I mean, need I say more? Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think you can be in love with many people. But yeah, definitely. What are your thoughts, man?
I agree. That's exactly what I said. I said, well, first of all, I think that what I kind of posted, if I remember, because I don't have that part written down, but I think I remember saying that what tends to happen is, first of all, it's a learned behavior, what love's supposed to be in this world that we live in now. We don't really know what love is. We don't even love ourselves, let's be honest. There's very few people out here that really knows what it is to be in love with themselves. I've been working on that for at least 2 years. I'm a lot closer than I've ever been, but I'm still not where I want to be. You know what I'm saying? So until you know what love really is, you know what I'm saying? Unconditional love. And that's another thing. A lot of us fall in love with conditions. You know, I could love a girl because she has, and like I said, this is a grown-up show, so I'm going to say some words. I could love a girl because I could love a young lady because she looks nice, or she has the fat ass, or she has big titties, or she's sexy, or she does certain things for me in bed, and or she takes care of me and stuff like that. But that's really not being in love. That's being in love with conditions. Because if that same person, God forbid, was to lose their arm, would you still be there for them? You know what I'm saying? If it's not so pretty anymore, how you going to feel about her when she start reaching 50 and maybe she's not that 28-year-old anymore? And I know a lot of guys like this too, and that's why I bring it up. I know guys that are in their 50s that only date females that are like 26, 27, 28. Very sophisticated, smart females, but when they get to a certain age, they done got too old. And now they're ready to trade them in for the next model. You know what I mean? It's like a car, like a car dealership. So a lot of us are in love with, we're in love with conditions. We're not in love unconditionally anyway, and that starts with yourself. I totally believe that you can love multiple people. You could be in love with multiple people. It's just like your children. And there was a guy named Craig News, Newz, on that line. He was kind of saying a lot of this stuff. Like, that's like having multiple children, and you're supposed to love your children. Now, I have multiple children. I have 3 children. I can honestly say I love each and every one of them the same. Now, here's the kicker. I love one for what one does, and I love another for what another one does, and another for what another one does. But I love them all. But I don't love them all the same for what they all do, because they all don't do the same thing. But that's just me. Some parents claim to love everyone, all of them the same. I don't, because there's one of my kids that gets on my nerves with certain things, and there's another one that doesn't quite do it for me on other, but I still love them. I'm in love with them, actually. I'm in love with each one of my children. You know what I mean? But I totally believe that you could be in love with multiple people. And Claire, I was talking to Christopher a little while ago, Christopher Aaron, and you guys that are watching this, I want you to write down his Facebook page. That's Christopher with a K. Aaron is Waron. This is our water fasting guru who got me started, and I'm pretty sure, Claire, I don't know if you fasted before Christopher. I really didn't successfully fast before him. I did a couple times, but it wasn't what I would classify as being successful. And it's where I met all of you. I met Claire Clouds through Christopher Aaron's fast. Sky Juice, I was a friend of hers already, but I actually met Christopher on her page, and I met like 30 other people who I just consider family. And he was telling me that the whole thing about loving multiple, being in love with multiple people is really the natural order. It's called I wrote it down. It's called the Christ House, and it's called polyfidelity. And he broke it down this way. He said Christ had a wife who was Mary Magdalene, and Christ had 12 disciples. Those 12 disciples had 12 wives. So that's the 13 plus 13 equals 26. And that's why there are 26 letters in the alphabet, 13 male, 13 female. It was Jesus's highest social construct. It's called the Christ house. Because you know, Claire, Christopher breaks everything down metaphysically. So once again, that's Christopher Aaron with a K. You want to friend that guy. He's amazing. And so what are your thoughts on that? So well, basically you gave me your thoughts, but if you have anything else you want to share.
No, I just really believe that you can be in love with many people at one time, or at least, even many, really. I don't know. It's just the truth. That's all I want to add.
Well, Claire's a free spirit. She's like me. I think that it's not so unconventional at all. I think when you really think about it, I think that there are many people that are soulmates of yours. That one soulmate thing, I'm not quite sure about that. And I think I'll probably never meet everybody that I would perfectly fit in with. You know what I mean? But I mean, I'm
Yeah.
totally open. I'm totally open to, being involved in a multiple, relationship situation. I'm open to that. And I never thought I could do it, but I think that it's possible. I think you can be actually in love and want to make sure that the person that you love is taken care of, and that whole business. So, but Claire, I'm glad you see that. Good.
I agree, like with the soulmate thing, like there's so many, like, like, and it doesn't just have, like, your best friend can be your soulmate too, like, and then, relationships, like intimate relationships can be soulmates as well. There's so many people out there. Yeah, I don't know. Like, is there one? Yeah, maybe you'll find one that you really want to stick with. I'm not saying that but there's many. You know, that's my belief.
I agree with you, Claire, 100%. Then there's this other post I read. This guy named Otis Cooper, and I believe he was in the Aquarius, Gemini, Aries. I forget the group. It's a group, and I'll clarify that tomorrow. I forgot to write it down. And his question is it okay for a man to cry? I already know what Claire's going to say because I'm going to say the same thing. But is it okay for a man to cry? And when isn't it okay for a man to cry? What are your thoughts, Claire?
It's always okay for a man to cry. We natural human beings. We don't we shouldn't hold it all in because just because we're male or female or particular situations. It's a natural thing, and don't be afraid of it. That's what I say.
I agree. I said the same thing basically. As long as a cat isn't crying every time he missed the bus, or something like that. But I mean, at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with showing emotion. And what I said in that post was, it takes a very strong man to know it's okay to cry, and it takes a strong woman to not take that the wrong way. Because men are taught
Yeah,
not to cry, and women are taught that if men cry, they're pussies, which is just not true. So it takes a
and it takes a
strong
strong
man to,
woman.
right.
Sorry, Ben. It takes a strong woman to support their man in letting them cry, and letting them all out. And I totally agree with you.
Okay, so we don't have our counterpart tonight, uh, Sky Juice, who normally talks like 140 minutes of the program. I love you, Sky. No, but we're not gonna hold a long. We're not. We're not gonna hold a long call tonight. But I just wanted to shout out Sky Juice. Love you, Sky. She's
Love you,
visiting
Scott.
family. Yeah. And but anyway, we just want to thank you guys for tuning in. Claire, is there anything else you want to say before I sign off?
Oh, I lost the mouse there for a minute. No, 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 it's all good. I just wanted to shout out to Sky and shout out to Brother Nature, and yeah, tune in next time for some more juicy conversations with Marinate.
Absolutely. And I tell you, tomorrow's topic will be surrounding the category of, is it ever okay to get with your friend's lover ever? That means, let's just say your friend and his girl broke up a year ago. Is it okay now for you to start taking up with her? What if your friend passed away and you and his wife or girlfriend decided, that you two should, you two like each other, you're already friends, and you're really starting to feel each other? Should you be hampered with the guilt of the friend, or should you just move on with your life and be together anyway? Is life too short? When isn't it okay to not do that? And I want to know your opinions on that. So I'm going to sign off right now. I'm going to cry, and I'm going to hope that Claire supports me in my crying. Okay? So once again, we love you. We thank you. And we'll talk to you tomorrow, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, whatever that means to you.
All right, peace, guys.
Peace. This is Marinate TV. Take care. Signing off. Love you, Claire. Good night. Oh, good morning.
Good morning, good evening.
All right, love. Take care.
Peace.